السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Verily all the praise and all of the glorification and all of the magnification and all of our dedication should be for Allah and Allah alone. I publicly, I inwardly, I outwardly declare and attest and profess that there is nothing or no one that deserves to be worshipped except for Allah Jalla fi Ala. And I bear witness that the finality of messenger sent to guide humanity from the darkness into the light was Abu Qasim al-Amin al-Sadiq al-Masduq Muhammad ibn Abdullah alayhi salatu taslim. The other day, me and my son, we were doing laundry at the laundromat. And the people who own the store happen to be what we call Bible thumpers, hardcore Christians. And they noticed that we were Muslims. I was wearing a thobe. And we're doing our laundry. And I knew the daughter and I knew the son from before. And I met the father before. But we never had any interaction. So we started to discuss some of the similarities between Christianity and Islam. And then it finally got to, well, who is God and what is God? So I was doing my laundry the other day and I was asked about my faith, my belief in God, my belief in Isa ibn Maryam. And is he divine or he's not divine? How God is, how God isn't, and what are his powers, what is his name, and so on and so forth. So this grilling that they tried to give me, alhamdulillah, we had the ability, we had the capability, by Allah's permission, to defend our religion and to defend what the Muslim believes, as they were trying to proselytize their faith onto me. So my dear brothers, we discussed the issues of the attributes of Allah, Allah being all-powerful, all-knowing, all-hearing, all-seeing, the merciful, and so on and so forth, trying to help them to understand the reality of Allah Ta'ala. And the reality is, ya ikhwan, is while they were talking to me, they kept saying, we are the children of God. And I kept saying, no. There is the Khaliq, and then there's the Makhluq. There is the Creator and his creation. So some things like this, they have it twisted. And we expect that, ya ikhwan, because they don't have in their hands the finality through the Messenger of Allah, through the Quran al-Kareem, understanding the final message, so they twist a lot of things up, ya ikhwan. So when we look at this situation, ya ikhwan, I had to explain to him that Allah, He doesn't have any children, ya ikhwan. And then after all of this big discussion that we had, and it was almost an hour, ya ikhwan, they said, we are the children of God. We were here to do His will. You Muslims should learn about us. I said, yes, we know who you guys are. We are the creation of Allah, and we want to be His servants, and we want to follow in the footsteps of the last prophet, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, salawatullahi wa salam alayhi. So, ya ikhwan, this made me sit and think. As recently, ya ikhwan, I was in the masjid the other day in Toronto, Mississauga, and there were some brothers, I was asking them about the programs in this particular masjid. And they told me that there was this big sheikh who came from a particular Muslim country, and he's here to teach, and he's willing to teach, and he can read the Quran with the tafkhim, and all the beautiful qira'at, and all the different things that you need for ilm al-tajweed, and he studied fiqh, and he studied aqidah, and mashallah tabarakallah. However, nobody's coming to the sheikh's class Saturday morning. And the sheikh, he felt offended. And the question I said to the brothers is, for 20 years this masjid has not had any classes after Fajr. The classes have been mamnu', or they've been prohibited. So if we didn't have classes for the last 20 years, what would make the Muslims want to come and learn their religion now? And this is the thing, ya ikhwan. The other day I realized that my religion was being put in question by a Christian, whether or not I was devoted enough to the Almighty, known as Allah Ta'ala. So it took me, ya ikhwan, some time to realize that, unfortunately, the madrasa system, ya ikhwan, has been failing the Muslim multitude for many years, because we don't study, ya ikhwan, what is known as the aqidah sahiha, the authentic belief, as well as usul-ud-din, the fundamentals of the religion. And I had the opportunity a couple years ago, brothers, while I was overseas studying, I focused on aqidah, and I focused on the Arabic language, and I focused on usul-ud-din. And in the country that I was in, there's a particular book, ya ikhwan, written by a scholar who died almost 1100 years ago, and he goes into great depth explaining something that the Muslims in general that we don't study, my dear brothers. It is something that I encourage myself and for you brothers to understand, the issue of who Allah Ta'ala really is, ya ikhwan. And we're finding that most of the Muslims, if you were to ask them the very, very basics, ya ikhwan, of who Allah Ta'ala is, you find that the Muslims are unclear on Allah Ta'ala, on His sifat, His asma'ihi, wa sifatihi, wa dhatihi, wa af'alihi. On Allah, His names, His attributes, His holy being or His divine being, and on His actions, ya ikhwan. These are things that are written in the books of the scholars from 1,000 years ago, but we don't study this, how to know Allah Ta'ala, what is known as ma'rifatullah. As we know, there's ma'rifatullah, wa ma'rifatul nabiyhi, wa ma'rifatul din Islam. Knowing Allah, knowing His messenger, and knowing the religion. So we find, ya ikhwan, that here in the society, we find that the people, they're getting away from Allah. And they're worshipping what is known as, and they promote and they worship, aliha batila. Aliha batila, the false gods, ya ikhwan. And we find that this is being pushed on so many levels, ya ikhwan. As I see there's some youth here. You find them, ya ikhwan, in society, in the movies, to have something called Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, the Hulk, Wonder Woman, X-Men, Metahumans, Wolverine, Green Lantern, Black Panther, The Flash, Captain America, the Avengers, and so many other things, ya ikhwan, that the people try to imitate and emulate. Ya ikhwan, why? Because they can do miraculous powers. They can do great things. So kids grow up, adults grow up, trying to look into this and thinking that this is good. But the question is, ya ikhwan, we know that there's only one who is Almighty, Allahu Akbar min kullu shay. So when we look at the situation, my dear brothers, this great scholar in Islam, he put together this beautiful ma'zuma, they call it, lines of poetry, ya ikhwan, to make it easy for the Muslim to understand the basics of who Allah Ta'ala is. And it's one of the older manuscripts written more than 1100 years ago, where the Shaykh, he explained to the Muslims the belief of the Muslims. And he went on to say, Babu ma tantiqu bihi al-alsina wa ta'taqiduhu al-af'ida min wajibul umuri diyana. He went on to say, chapter, what the tongue pronounces, what the tongue firmly fixes on the tongue and in the heart is from the obligatory matters of the religion. So this is in light of what they call Yahwan al-Minhaj fil Ithbat Asma Allah wa Sifatihi. It is from Yahwan the methodology of affirming Allah, His names and His attributes. And this is one of the ways that we can get close to Allah Azza wa Jal, by making dua, Ya Rahim, Ya Al-Wadud, Ya Al-Ghaffar, Ya Al-Tawwab, by asking Allah, imploring Him with these special beautiful characteristics and attributes, Yahwan. So the Shaykh, he went on to say, من ذلك الإيمان بالقلب والنطق باللسان أن الله إله واحد لا إله إلا غيره ولا شبيه له ولا نذير له ولا ولده ولا والده ولا صاحبته ولا شريك له. You want to say, from the things of Iman, of the heart, is the statement that which is on the tongue. أن الله إله واحد, that Allah, He is only one deity that deserves to be worshipped. La ilaha illa ghayru, there is nothing else. La ma'bu bihaqqin illallah. Get everything out of your mind, like we said, Superman, He-Man, She-Man, all these crazy things. And some of them, ya akhwan, they even glorify and deify Isa and Maryam, which is a khata, ya akhwan. Also, he went on to say, وَلَا نَذِيرَ لَهُ, and there is no similarity to Allah. وَلَا وَلَدَهُ, and He has no offspring. وَلَا وَالِدَهُ, and He has no parents. وَلَا صَاحِبَةَ لَهُ, and He has no companions, He has no spouse, He has no wife. وَلَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ, He has no partners. And if you were to ask the vast majority of Muslims to explain La ilaha illallah, many Muslims, we've tested them, they don't know it, ya akhwan. If you ask the Muslims, what are the pillars of La ilaha illallah, they'll say La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasul. Say, no, we're asking, what are the pillars of La ilaha illallah? It's a simple question, ya akhwan. Many of the Muslims, they fail. We have what they call, ya akhwan, ithbat and nafi. The pillar is negation and affirmation. There is nothing or no one, that is negation, that deserves to be worshipped except in only istithna, Allah. So you have to understand that it is negation and then affirmation, and then you see La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. So this is known, it's memorized, but when you ask the Muslims to explain it, we fall short of the matter, as we were discussing with some of the brothers before the Jumu'ah. So it's upon all of us, ya ikhwan, to realize Allah, His wahdaniyah, His oneness, ya ikhwan, as we're getting ready to worship Allah during the month of Ramadan. Unfortunately, there are some people who claim to be Muslim. They're Abdul Ramadan. They worship the month of Ramadan. They don't worship the Lord of all the other 11 months besides the month of Ramadan, ya ikhwan. There are Muslims, the masjid will be packed, people will come, and this is a beautiful thing. More Muslims in the masjid, but we don't see you throughout the rest of the year, ya ikhwan. Also, there's Abdul Eid, ya ikhwan, where people, they come out only for the Eid, ya ikhwan. So the same Lord who is the Lord of Ramadan, He is the Lord of all the other 11 months, my dear brothers. So looking at this situation, this particular sheikh, when he wrote this beautiful book, and mashallah, brothers, it's lines of poetry, detailed lines of poetry, which I memorized a portion of it and I forgot it and I need to review it again. This book was written by a 17-year-old over 1100 years ago. And they called him Al-Imam, Al-Allama, Al-Qudwa, Al-Faqih, Alim al-Ahl al-Maghrib. They called him the Imam, the leader, the Allama, the great Sheikh, the Qudwa, the example, the Faqih, the fiqh scholar, also the Alim al-Ahl al-Maghrib. He is the scholar from the people of Maghrib, which is the Tunisia, Algeria, Mauritania, Morocco area. At that time, he is what is known as Al-Malik al-Saghir, the little Malik. So when he tried to explain this to the Muslims, this book, ya akhwan, has been translated from French, English, more than 100 years ago by non-Muslim mustashrikun, non-Muslim Orientalists. They translated this book. And there's a book, ya akhwan, that I found that was very old, very ancient, ya akhwan, and very to the point. As these days, nobody really even studies who Allah is. The attributes of Allah, the names of Allah, the that, some call it the essence, but it's known, ya akhwan, the best translation would be the divine being of Allah, and the af'alihi, and His actions, ya akhwan. Allah, He does what He wills. So understanding of this, brothers, we'll be able to understand that in these days and times that we're living in, many people, they're still making shirk, ya akhwan. And I've seen it with my eyes in this land and in the land of the Muslims. From amongst the things that I've seen with my own eyes, brothers, in this land, Muslim brother, nice beautiful beard, mashallah, come to the masjid all the time. I seen him with my own eyes go to a grave in Mississauga, go to the grave and make sujood to the grave. And I asked them after, Akhi, who is that? He said, that's my grandfather. So why would you make sujood to your grandfather? Oh, he's my ancestor. Say, Akhi, this is against our religion. And this shows you, Ya Ikhwan, that many Muslims, they might have been Muslim for 1,000 years, we don't understand the concept of Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Many Muslims, if you even ask them, what does that mean? You alone, Allah, we worship, and only you alone we ask for help. And I was in a Muslim country 20 years ago, and I seen with my 2 eyes after I was told that in this particular masjid and in the village that I was in, the people, they recite the Quran with some of the best reciters of the Quran. If you listen to them, definitely your heart will cry, you will shed tears, Ya Ikhwan. But when I went to this one particular masjid, I see with my own eyes people bringing a picnic basket and leaving it on top of a tomb inside the masjid. And I asked them, I said, who is that food for? They said it's for the sheikh who's in the grave. Now imagine, brothers, I'm coming from Christianity, where our family used to worship Ibn Maryam, unjustly, wrongly. Now I'm in the masjid, in the land of the Muslims, where the people recite the Quran. Some of the best reciters come from this particular village in the world, and they did not understand Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. You alone, Allah, we worship, and you alone we ask. So when I asked the people, why are you giving it? The people said, well, this family, they give it because their wife can't get pregnant. So they're giving an offering, Ya Ikhwan, to a dead person in the grave, brothers. Imagine this is still going on in the year 2022, where people are giving food to dead people, hoping that they'll get something. And the question comes, Ya Ikhwan, have they estimated Allah Azza wa Jal with the proper estimation? أقول قولي هذا أستغفر وأتوب إليك وسائر المسلمين أجمعين واستغفروه منهم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Many of the Muslims, Ya Ikhwan, many of those born with Islam, they've not estimated Allah Azza wa Jal with the proper estimation, Ya Ikhwan. And there are some verses, Ya Ikhwan, and there's many, and I only chose a few, Ya Ikhwan, because this topic is something that the born Muslim, they need to go back and do what the new Muslim did, like myself, to make maraja', Ya Ikhwan, to review the knowledge that you've learned. Maybe you learned something from your grandfather and it's incorrect. Maybe you were in the village back home and the sheikh, he taught you something, it's incorrect. Our religion is based upon Quran and Sunnah and the understanding of the Sahaba, not us, brothers. Not us. Not the local imam. We want to understand Quran and Sunnah the way that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, how they understood Islam. So from amongst those ayat, Ya Ikhwan, and we took only a few, وَقَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى فَلَا تَضْرِبُوا لِلَّهِ أَمْثَالَ. Allah Ta'ala says, so do not strike any similitude or example unto Allah. Don't compare something to Allah. You can't compare Allah. Allah Ta'ala says, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ, that there is nothing, Ya Ikhwan, similar to Allah Azza wa Jal. And unfortunately, Ya Ikhwan, some years ago in New York City, they had a poster, and all of our Muslim brothers up there, they were very upset, where they show a basketball player, and it said, he shoots like Allah, which is shirk, Ya Ikhwan. The Muslims were in an uproar, and that thing got tore down, Ya Ikhwan. People making similitude to Allah Azza wa Jal. وَقَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ, and He is with you wherever you are. Ya Ikhwan, Allah, His knowledge is with us. We can't go anywhere. We can't hide anything from Allah. But when you look at it, Superman can't be here. The Flash, as fast as the Flash can be, he can't be here and on the other side of the world at the same time. So when you look at it, Ya Ikhwan, how the people are playing with the people's minds, with these so-called metahumans and superheroes, Ya Ikhwan, that now they don't even talk about the Anbiya and the Rusul, Ya Ikhwan, and the miracles that they brought, Ya Ikhwan. Everything now has become entertainment. Everything now has become a game, what they call la'ib. Everything, Ya Ikhwan, has all been put together for some money. وَقَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى فَلَا تَجْعَلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ, and do not ascribe equals to Allah while you have knowledge. So you can imagine, Ya Ikhwan, someone in that village who can recite the Quran, and the Shaykh, he knows where that village is, with beautiful tajweed, Ya Ikhwan, but yet they could possibly be mushrikeen, Ya Ikhwan, giving and invoking others besides Allah. They misunderstood Islam 101. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Within Fatiha is Tawheed. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid, wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan. All throughout the Quran and the Sunnah, Tawheed, 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 Tawheed. Wahdaniyya, singling out Allah, ifrad Allah bi ibadatillahi wahda. Singling out who? Allah, ya ikhwan, for everything. Inna salati, wa nusuki, wa mahyaya, wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. Say, my prayer, my salat, and my sacrificing of the animal, my living and my dying are for who? For Allah, who is Lord of all the heavens and all the universe, my dear brothers. So, inshallah, in ending, ya ikhwan, some people these days, ya ikhwan, they'll say, well, the doctor said, or the sheikh said this and that. Brothers, you have the responsibility from anybody that you hear, ya ikhwan, with the microphone or any place. If they say something that sounds weird, ask them, ya akhi, min ayna laka hadha. It's the first Arabic sentence I learned. Min ayna laka hadha. Brother, where did you get this from? Where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? Where's your dalil? What is your burhan? Where's your bayina? Where's your hujjah? All those words kind of mean proof and evidence, but separately they mean different things, ya ikhwan. Our religion, ya ikhwan, is based upon kitab and sunnah, on the understanding of the sahaba, the tabi'in, and itba tabi'in. Anybody comes these days, brothers, with crazy stuff, saying stuff like one of the PhDs, he said that he doesn't believe in Gog and Magog, Gog and Magog. It's mentioned in the Quran twice, and he says he doesn't believe in it. So it shows you, ya ikhwan, we have to be careful who we take our religion from. With that, هذا ما عندي وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. May Allah make us true worshippers of Him, true followers of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, true people who are sincere and were mukhlis lillah, ya ikhwan. وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَىٰ لِيَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. We've only been commanded to worship Allah and be sincere in that. With that, هذا ما عندي وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أقيموا الصلاة ويرحمكم الله.